Hello again, Kathy. Hi, Phoebe. Oh, I love getting to spend lots of the day together. This is fun. Happy to see you popping on. Welcome to the All Access call for December. This is our last All Access call of the year. Actually, our last official call of the year, period. And I am so honored to get to be here with all of you and support you with the next steps that you need for your business to be able to move forward powerfully, to really close out the year strong. Sage often talks about running through the finish line. So that's what I wanted to talk about right at the start of this call. Two things. One is running through the finish line. This idea that we often feel like we need to just slow down and pull back or stop altogether when we near the end of something, when we're nearing a completion. This is just a natural compulsion. The resistance comes up in all different forms. And when you commit to running through the finish line, it means you do that in alignment. You're in alignment with yourself and your intentions, and you're saying, and I'm going to keep doing this next action. So that might look like continuing to book more discovery calls, more sessions with potential clients. It might look like showing up and doing another Facebook Live or booking a talk to kick off the new year. I know for me, I booked a workshop on January 5th, and it's been great for me to have something that's right at the start of the year that I can be talking about, mentioning, promoting, encouraging people to sign up for, that isn't happening right now exactly in the holidays, but I can orient towards that happening in the near future. So for you, what does running through the finish line look like for 2020? And I imagine part of that is just being here, just showing up on the call. I got to spend a couple hours with some of you earlier today on the ELA call, filling in, which is such an honor to get to step in for Serena and Sage and Shannon while they are all in Uganda. So we're sending them love as they get to give so generously to the community that we got to raise money for throughout the course of the year. And for each of you, you might have those thoughts or ideas like, oh, I wish I was doing something like that. I wish I was getting to give back in that kind of way. So what are those ways that you can start implementing in your own business? And you can even start planting the seeds for in your own business of how you could be giving, how you could be contributing even more as you close out this year and move into a new year. So some questions to start to think on. And now that more of you are here, you've arrived, just setting the context for why we're here. Some of you, this might be your first call on. Welcome. The All Access call is all access. It's for everyone who's in our programs, for you to get to have more laser coaching, more support, and you're going to all be at very different places. Some of you are looking at getting your first client. Some of you are looking at how to step out of working with clients and be able to hand that off to team so that you can work on more talks and more of your visionary work in the world. Wherever you are on this spectrum, we welcome you and celebrate you for taking all the steps that are necessary to be exactly where you are right now, knowing that it is plenty, it is enough. And also recognizing at this time of the year, amidst the go for it energy of completion, there's also this natural energy that we're feeling in the earth, I think, that, and I've talked to lots of other clients who are feeling this kind of inward quieting, hibernation kind of energy that happens as days are darker, shorter, and the earth is resting. And so if you're feeling that and you're like, oh, I don't know, why am I tired? Or why don't I have the same spark in me? Something must be wrong. Actually, you're living in rhythm with the earth. So just take a breath into that. Oh, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. You're just being aligned with what's happening around us, and not necessarily what's happening You know, I live in San Francisco, and last night was downtown San Francisco, and I'm not talking about what's happening out there in terms of what's in the shop windows and the like loud music and the partying and all of that, but what's happening when you walk down a quiet street in your neighborhood. You look up at what's happening with the trees. Their leaves have fallen, they're resting, they're renewing. And when we try to like push on top of that, we can start to feel out of alignment. So I just want to name that you get to keep going in the midst of taking care of yourself, which might look like getting some more sleep, making your hot teas. I'm on, I think, my 5th cup of hot beverage today of tea and broth and elixirs. And just what are you doing to nourish yourself at this time of year is also really important to include in the conversation, to be kind to yourself and be kind to those ones who are showing up for your workshops and your discovery sessions and, you know, booking or not booking with you, because they're all going through these same kind of feelings, and the holidays often brings us a lot up for people. So just wanting to presence that, let yourself be included in the process, not trying to push away, override that one. So as we stand for that, including yourself in the process, being kind to yourself, I want to open it up for your Q&A time. I'm here for an hour and a half to answer any questions that you have to help you move forward. And so what I invite you to do is to ask one question. On this call especially, sometimes we can go into a little more depth on the other calls, but this one I like to go just a round of one laser question, and then you can always put up your hand again and I can circle back around to you. But let's get one laser question out for everyone who has one, and then you can always pop back in. So I see your hands raising. And Ada, I'm going to start with you. And let's see.
Thank you.
Hi, Ada.
I was hoping you'd start with me because it's getting later and later.
Late for you. I know. I'm aware of that.
And also, after my Monday was my last meeting with my group. And it was amazing. At the same time, afterwards, I felt like Rocky when I walked home, because I had so much energy that 3 people wanted to continue with me and all these wonderful things. So I walked home instead of taking the bus, and I caught a cold. And it was raining. So what I want to ask you is that this past group I had led was to Permission to Play and Curiosity, to teach them watercolors, which was really, that has been my profession, and so it's relatively much easier. But the next group that I'm going to go to, I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Maybe, I don't know. It will be for expatriate wives of staff and parents. And so I was told that these people don't necessarily want to be painting yet. So I need to, I want to talk to them about discovering their purpose and passion. And in our last Q&A, it was amazing. So many questions were answered, answers were questioned, whatever. There was like, I thought, you know, vision clarity session sounds really cool. And visibility breakthrough sounds really cool for these people, because I do not know how to lead people who are expatriates, who feel isolated, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to call them on the fact that they are isolated, because people don't want to say that they are lonely.
Well, I think, Ada, that you can definitely speak to the fact that they're longing for connection. That's another way to say that without saying someone's lonely. Because I think many people, when they move to a new place, would readily admit, oh yeah, I'm really looking to meet new people, or have more connection. And it's kind of the positive framing of that. And people, you know, it is proven that people will come out to workshops that have more of a positive framing around them, and they'll listen to webinars that have more of the negative so-called framing, like talking about, do you feel lonely? It's like, yes, I'm going to click and watch that secretly. Like someone will do that, but they won't necessarily show up and go to a room full of people that are all saying they're lonely. And they're like, no, that's not for me. So just wanting to frame that for you, Ada, and anyone who's also looking at workshop titles as well, that if you speak to the fact that they're longing for more quality connection or more depth of connection, and that you'll be creating this group where they'll have that, and they're also longing for more of a purpose. So like you're saying, if there's someone there who's, it sounds like her husband is working and she's maybe not, and doesn't feel like she has that purpose and connection, like you can speak to that. What's her purpose? What's her vision? Getting clear for yourself for this new year, what your contribution is. And then part of that could be that you bring in your art and teachings as a way for people to get to explore their creativity and open up to creativity. So you might word it that way. Like we'll have classes based in creative expression where you get to use art as a means to discover what wants to come through you.
Mm-hmm. That was really, with my group, when we were finishing up, we went out for coffee, and there were the three people who wanted to go on with me. One of them said that she felt lonely and isolated, and that was going to be so I can have her as, she does not necessarily want to continue painting, but she feels isolated. That's why she's continuing in this group. And so it feels, I'm not quite clear where to put the boundaries, because the thing to lead them with, I mean, the sign on the door with these people is connection. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So here's the thing I want to say for you, Ada, that could be a little different. This may sound counterintuitive to other information you've heard for the rest of you. So it's more like the rest of you, close your ears. The rest of you, for most of what you're up to, we would say, don't talk about community, don't talk about connection, because people are like, I can get that anywhere. I have lots of friends. It's fine. Ada, for the women that you're speaking to, it's quite likely that they don't. That they do feel lonely and isolated, and that part of the reason they're going to come out is to be with other people who are looking for friends and wanting that connection, wanting meaningful depth that isn't just about like going out to a party and making small talk, but they want to have an experience where they get to feel that connection. So for you, I'd say in this case, definitely you can talk about the value of getting to come together with other people who have common interests, who want to discover more about their passions and their, like what they're here for, and feel inspired. Yeah.
And I have never done this I have never done this before.
Yes, it's an adventure. It's something new. And I would say also you had your first group of 6, and you were working with them and you were teaching them. And yes, you were doing something you're familiar with art, but you were still guiding them. You were their mentor. So resting into knowing, oh, you can do this. You've got people who are signing up and paying you now. You did your first one unpaid. You've got people who are signing up and coming back, even though they didn't pay the first time. You've got 3 people that are now saying, I'm going to pay and come back. That's a really good sign. So let yourself feel the truth of that.
With fear and all that other stuff.
Yes, with fear. With the fear. We're not erasing the fear. The fear gets to be right there, but the fear is not in the driver's seat. And I would say, for all of you that express that, everyone, I'll be transparent. I was feeling some fear earlier this week, and I messaged Deborah, one of our leverage coaches, and I said, I'm feeling afraid. I need to do a spring cleaning. And it was such a radical shift to get to be held in the space of someone outside of my own mind, my fear mind, because I can see it for all of you, but for any of us, we're all leaders, we're all mentors. In our own mind, it feels so big. It's like, no, this isn't going to work. And that's why it's so important to come and meet with a buddy, to get on these calls, to set up time with your coach. So when you're feeling fear, don't let it take you out. To say, yeah, that's here. It's part of it. And one of the things that Deborah said to me was, she's like, well, you have the fear part, but what's another part of you? Like, what does another part of you have to say? And so I would say that to you, Ada, of what's another part of you? You have the fear part and the one that hasn't done this before. What's like your higher self leader part have to say about this upcoming offering?
It is that taste of really, one of the people who re-enrolled said, her husband says, notice how much happier she is these days. Mm-hmm. So he says she should continue. Mm-hmm. And to know that this is what I am doing to people's lives, that I have that there is that possibility to transform their lives, to make it more fulfilling. Mm-hmm. And that is so, I'm so glad you asked this question, because that fear is so big. And it is so, and I said, I've never done this work. I've only done 10-minute signature talk, and it was messy. And now I want to do a 45-minute workshop or something like that. Who am I to do this? Mm. Am I crazy or what,
Mm. Yeah. So you get to love that part that thinks it's crazy and say, I hear you. And we could all do this right now. Even put your hands on yourself, like, oh, this part of yourself that thinks it's crazy. Like, oh my gosh, I hear you think this is so crazy, that what I'm up to is so big and so scary. Oh, yeah, I feel how scared you are. And I want you to know that I've got you. This is you talking to this part. I've got you. We can do this. And it's just one step at a time. Just one step at a time. And Ada, you're taking such big steps.
That day when I brought up the money story, the money, there was silence. And then there was this downpour of, you should not be doing this and blah, blah, blah. It was like, oh my God, why did I go there? It was so bad.
Yeah.
There was this silence of disapproval.
In your mind?
No, in their faces.
That's the story you made up.
Okay.
Yes. So that's what I want to point to. And this is so beautiful. So we were on the ELA call earlier, and Ada was speaking about that moment when she made the offer, right? And telling people how much it's going to be. And then looking out at those faces. Most often, people are just blank. Like, being on stage and getting to look out at all of you, I can say that most of the time, you're pretty just blank stares. Most of the time on the calls, like, that's what we're looking out to. And to keep that energy of like, yes, okay, you've got this, like that, it takes a lot to have that. And then you get in a room of people who don't even know you, then that's a whole nother level of blankness, because they're just processing all kinds of things. They might be thinking, yeah, I like your sweater. I wonder where you got that. I really need to go shopping. I didn't get the Christmas gifts yet. And, oh, damn, I need to go to the grocery store too. I'm not going to be able to do that after this workshop. And you're thinking, oh no, they're so concerned about the amount of money that we put up on the board, and they barely even heard it because they were so busy in their own heads. So I just want to frame that. You got 3 people out of 6, 50% conversion to sign up.
This one woman immediately said, it is too much. You should not be charging, and blah, blah, blah. And she went on for 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, these are moments where, like, that would be a great thing to address with your coach and get support on how to manage the audience to, be able to someone going on for 10 minutes in that way won't happen once you learn how to rein it back in. And so just saying like, yeah, those moments happen, they're going to be uncomfortable, but so what? She's not your client. Ideally, then if she doesn't see the value in it and she doesn't want to do it, no problem. What we expect in a room of conversion in a room is 25% when you're really solid in your offer. So for all of you who feel like I'm not getting like the results I want, we all want 100%. Like really, of course, that's what we want. But just knowing that that is so unusual. That most of the time is not what's happening. And when we get 25%, 20%, 40%, 50%, like this is incredible. And so Ada, thanks for being willing to get out there and just do it, even though it feels uncomfortable and edgy. And let's all give you a kiss for this next round that you are moving into. So beautiful.
Thank you.
You're so welcome, Ada. So inspiring. And let's see, Sarah, you are next. Sarah.
Hi.
Yes, there you are. I was looking for you. Hi, what's your question?
So my question is, I'm going to be on some podcasts coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, like, what is the best call to action to talk about on podcasts? Like, do I mention the freebie, the discovery call, the program? Like, yeah.
Great question. Yeah, not all of them. So it's great to have one strong call to action. The thing to recognize about podcast interviews in particular is they're going to be around for a while. It's not, forever, really. Like people could listen to it a year from now. And so if you're talking about something that's only happening like, oh, I have a workshop coming up in 2 weeks, that's not necessarily the best way to use time on a podcast. You want to give them something that they'll be able to access at any point. And then you get to take the next action with them. Meaning, I'm just going to mute you for a second because I'm hearing myself back in the speaker. So for any of you, if you get a podcast spot, have a free gift that you can give that you'll have that link active a year from now, 2 years from now. This is something that people can go download the free gift. Even if your free gift changes, they could go to this spot and they'll be able to reach you. So somewhere on your website, ideally, that they'll be able to reach. Then when you get that opt-in now, you'll be able to invite them to a next step. You can have a series of emails, nurture sequence that goes out letting them know, here's the free gift, want to invite you into the next step. It might be a Facebook group. If you have that, it might be that you're inviting them into, if you have a free talk or a workshop coming up, if you live in this area, feel free to join us. I'm doing this talk and you have a link to that. And if you have any online training videos, those kind of pieces that you can direct them to next, that can be part of your nurture sequence that you're sending people into. But just not starting with that as the entry point in the podcast, because those things are going to change over time and you'll be able to get those new emails in for years and then still be sending them to what's current. So if, for instance, you were doing a live event, because I've heard this from some of you as well, you're like, but I really want to get tickets to the live event. You can mention that it's coming up in the podcast and then let people know, oh, when you opt in for this free gift, as long as tickets are still available, you'll get the opportunity to find out more about how to join us for the event. Something like that, just a very light mentioning of it. But you can see that it happens. Does that help, Sarah?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, great. Awesome. Congrats on getting a podcast spot.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes. Mwah. All right. Let's see. Who is next? Vaidehi.
Hello.
Hello.
So my question is around, so I'm launching a new program in January, and I guess what I want, just so you know, is Just some support on like maybe any areas that I can clean up. I have a launch and a challenge going on, but it's my first time ever doing this.
Mhm.
And so the launch for this program, Ritual Embodiment, is happening sometime in mid-January. And I'm just kind of really nervous about making it a 3-month thing because it's an in-person event. And I've had people, I've had like 3 maybe calls around it, and there's interest, but people aren't really like buying into it. I mean, it's only been 3 people, and I'm starting the launch this weekend. So I guess I just wanted to know maybe any suggestions that you might send my way to kind of make this a more successful launch. I want to mention that I have an event this Saturday in Santa Cruz that's called Ritual Embodiment, which is kind of like a workshop version to kind of get people interested in what it is.
Mhm.
But I'm really nervous about making it a 3-month in-person thing. And I'm sending out emails now every Tuesday. And I will be sending out emails every day of the 5-day challenge, which starts that same day, and it will be used to promote the event. But a lot of people aren't really reading the emails. There's like 300 people on my list, but maybe like 2% are even like, I don't know, like 30
Or
people
even
are
opening. Mhm.
and like 3 people are like actually clicking on something.
Yeah. So this is often the case with emails, like around 10, like a 10% open rate is really good. And that sounds like what you're getting, basically like 30 out of 300
To
are
even
opening.
just like open it or read
Yes, to
it.
open. That's totally normal.
Mm.
Not obviously, again, what we want, but that is often what's happening. So that's why we can't rely on it as being the only way and the only means of communication. This is where personal reach out is really big to people that have been in your classes that would be a really good fit for this. And you reach out and give them a call, let them know, hey, this is coming up and I thought of you. When they have a teaser opportunity like this weekend where they can try something out, that's great. Do you have people registered for that already?
I don't see who signs up because it's through the studio, the Divinity Yoga Studio. But I have a couple people that have shown interest. I did a full moon gathering last night and had some people that were like, we want to come to your next event. I had their emails. Today I'll be doing follow-up
Great.
within the 24 hours. But that's also why I'm doing the challenge. And I was recently interviewed by my friend who's also a dancer, and she's going to do the challenge. And then I interviewed her, she interviewed me. So we're trying to just like collaborate and have a referral thing going on with each other. But yeah, I'm concerned about like an in-person 3-month thing. And then, gosh, like it's coming up and like, yeah, personal reaching out I can do.
So personal reaching out combined with having a couple of in-person. So you've got one this weekend. I would schedule ideally something else that could happen beforehand. So if it's possible to push your start date more towards the end of January, that would be ideal so that you have some space to get people in. And if you can't push the date, you can always invite people in after it started for a week or 2. That's another possibility. So, and for all of you, when you think like, oh no, it's a start date, I don't have the number of people. Well, there's a momentum that happens just from it's starting, and being able to talk about that, post about it. And then there's always a couple more people that are, hanging on the sidelines and interested. So I would say the other thing to consider is are most of the people that are on your list in person? Like, are they in Santa Cruz area?
It's a combination of people that I met while I was touring 2 years ago with Goddess Moon Temple and like the festival circuit, teaching workshops, and Los Angeles people and Santa Cruz people. I've just been sending my newsletters to everybody on my list, but I can make it Santa Cruz specific as well. That's very easy.
Well, the thing is, yes, when it's in person and it's only Santa Cruz related, then it could be good for your list to focus really just on the Santa Cruz people there. And, you can always have something sent out occasionally to the whole list saying this is happening in Santa Cruz. So they see, oh yeah, this is what you're up to right now. Oh, I wish you were doing something like that here, giving them an opportunity to respond that way.
That's really a good idea. So my schedule now is like every Tuesday is like my action day, my Mars day. So I send out a newsletter to just my whole list. What would you recommend as like a flow for just the Santa Cruz people regarding this program launch?
I would say, so for Santa Cruz people, it's about in-person events. So you've got this Saturday, having another one booked in January to kick off the new year, having some other option for people to come in person. Because if this was too soon, people were already booked. Like, I know I've had invitations to about 15 events that are happening this Saturday.
Yeah, me too.
It's like, I'm like, what did everyone pick this weekend? So it's great to have another option for people just in this fullness of time. And then the Facebook challenge, of course, inviting people into that, and then having them get emails each day of the challenge saying, here's the training from today, check this out, here's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, encouraging people to interact there. Those are the main ways, in addition to personal reach out. So at this stage, you'd have a couple in-person events, the online Facebook piece, posting consistently on social media in general, and not just only sharing about, I've got this event coming up or this program, but your personal shares. Like, that's what's going to get people even more engaged. Like, how do these practices support you through the holiday season? And then at the end of those, you can mention, oh yeah, and in the new year, I'll be starting a group. If you're curious about this, just PM me.
Okay, that really helps. And I just, I wanted to say that I have a new moon, like I do a monthly new moon thing online in my private Goddess Moon Temple group that has about like 340, whatever.
Great.
Like that people. And it's just, I'm getting more active there. So I was going to do a new moon thing on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking is to maybe turn it into like a, let's move, Christmas is tomorrow, like move that food. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever. And one last question, just like around this piece of reaching out to audience members. I've been really thinking about this, and I'm glad I get to ask you. But like, I've been having the debate between sharing in the group and sharing on the page. It's like I want more people to see, and I have like 786 followers on the page as of now, but at the same time I want to nurture my group. So how do I know when to choose
Right.
which one to post on?
Who else can resonate with that, where you feel like you've got a business page and you got a Facebook group and you're thinking, how many places do I have to be posting? Yeah, I want to. Okay, great. I have to flip the screen so I can see hands. Awesome. So this is something I hear a lot, and you have, limited time, obviously, and you don't want to feel like you're just constantly on social media. And so one of the ways that I've seen this work really well for clients is posting the more exclusive thing into your group. Like if you're going to do a special training that you're not trying to boost, for instance. Now, if you're going to do a training that you want to boost and do an ad for, that goes on your business page always. But if you just want to do something that's like, here's this special training that's happening for the group, like if you're going to do every new moon, there's going to be a training in there. You could have that in the group. And then the post that you're making is about the value of being part of new moon rituals, trainings. You do that post on the business page and say, hey, I'm going to put the link to the group in the comments. Join us over there for these exclusive free access to the trainings. Because then people's attention gets piqued. You can still boost those posts and people will start joining your group more.
Ooh. Would you recommend maybe doing like a video where I do boost it on the page, like about ritual embodiment?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So you still, and for all of you, you still want to be able to do some posts on your business page that you boost saying like, this is what it's about, but it's happening over here. I've also seen people do this well on Instagram. If you're using this, they'll share in Instagram stories saying, oh my gosh, I just got done leading this amazing free training in my Facebook community, and then insert name of your Facebook community. And I know you'll love this if you're struggling with X, Y, and Z, or you'll love this if you've been just waiting for me to talk more about this, like how to align your life and work more with the moon cycles. I've been hearing this question from so many of you. And so that's why I just did this free training. So definitely head over to the Goddess Moon Temple Facebook community, and all you need to do is request to join, and I'll add you in. I'm so excited for you to get to see this training. It was amazing. See you over there. Because people often say, well, how do I do this on Instagram? And it's not interfacing, like people can't be over there. Well, when you share in a story and people are watching it there, they open the other app and they look for the group, and they're going to find that next stage. So things to just start thinking about how you can connect the dots a little bit more and relate to more people without doing more work.
Yeah, because I have two, Vaidehi and Goddess Moon Temple on both Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah,
so
less. Yeah, so you'll get to do less that way. Thanks for your questions, Vaidehi.
Just, is there a document that I could look at for like how to make like a sales video?
You'd have to look and see an ELA and just do a search on that. And by the way, for any of you, we are going to be adding a search tab to help you search for those things. But as far as if you want to search right now, and you have a Mac anyway, I'm not sure how it works otherwise, but on a Mac you do Command F. And when you do Command F, when you're on your forum page and you're looking for document and you search a word, like sales, for instance, then it would come up with anything that has that in the title.
So glad I got to ask that.
Yes. Thank you for your questions. Mwah. All right. Kia, what's your question? I see you, Janine. I'll hop over there next.
Hey, so I have a pretty quick question. I'm working on getting the link for my free gift out to some affiliate partners for getting butts and seats for the retreat in January. And I had talked to Shana about kind of this idea of, it's nice to do the free gift because then they end up in my emails, and, it's not necessarily just for this moment, but then it's increasing reach kind of for long-term too.
Yes.
But wanting also to be able to offer a ticket. So it was sort of like free gift, and then on the thank you page had the invitation to the retreat there, and the link over to the kind of the retreat landing page was the idea that we had come up with. My question is, like, is this something that you can just, first of all, does that sound like a good idea? But two, instead of just for affiliate partners, right now, my landing or the free gift that's going out right now goes to my Facebook group. But could I make the second tier the retreat for everybody? Or is that better if it just sticks with the affiliate partner kind of route, and people who are just coming off of the web or getting the free gift off of Facebook and that kind of stuff, that they're still then getting routed into my private Facebook group?
Yeah. So the
I don't know
benefit
if any of that made sense. Sorry.
I think so. And let me know based on my answer here if I'm giving you what you need. So if you take people from a free gift to Facebook group, and they're getting in there, you have their email. Yeah. And then you also have them in the Facebook group where you can be sharing videos and posts and talking to them directly and making offers for things like your event.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the most beneficial kind of scenario, because now you're able to market to them in two ways, email and social media directly. And they're getting the notifications of new posts in the group. So it's a hotter way to market to them within the group. Now, for the other thing, for people to be able to book discovery sessions or to come to an event, it takes more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Claire and I were just talking about this morning on the ELA call, that, hey, to get someone to come to something and commit their time and energy and get out of the house and maybe get in a car for a long ride or get on a plane or all the things that are required, it's got to be really in alignment with what they're wanting.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has to be offered by someone they feel they're connected to and they trust and they know. So that's where the group is really good, because you get to share more videos, more posts. They get to feel you, know you. And it's a lot easier than just trying to market direct, like, come to my event. It's amazing. Because one thing we all run the risk of is thinking, but it's free. Like, why wouldn't you come?
Yeah.
And the problem is they're getting a lot of those kind of invitations to all the potential things. And so what's going to make yours stand out to them is the community that gets built around it, the group that's built around it. And so I think the strategy you've got right now is great to focus on collecting those two, like the social media profile, the email, and then getting them to come to the event. Because even if they can't come to the event, what you can do after the event is doing a 3-day training into that group, highlighting some of the best pieces from your event, or even a one video longer, more webinar style, highlighting some of the best pieces of your event, and then offering discovery sessions so that you're not missing out on the people who weren't able to attend.
Awesome. So for affiliate partners, would you do the same thing and just have them also go into the group? Or is there a way to kind of have their relationship with the affiliate partner benefit you in getting them kind of further down the line a little bit faster?
That's the part I'm not totally understanding. So you have affiliate partners that are sending out the link to your free gift.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And you're saying, where should the affiliate partners then be?
Well, no. So if people are coming through the affiliate partner, can the affiliate partner say, here is a free gift. She also has this amazing retreat. If you sign up, like, is there a way to weave both in, or do I need to keep it super clean so they're still just doing the same thing everybody else is doing?
So an affiliate partner, I would ask them to send out 2 messages.
Okay.
So one message would be for the free gift with you.
Yep.
And then they would send out another email that would share about how, Kia's given my community 5 complimentary tickets, 10 complimentary tickets to this event. And this is why I really respect Kia as a leader. And I think you should go.
Yeah.
And that kind of email goes a long way, but it's great when they've heard about you at least once before. They've had the opportunity to potentially already join your Facebook group. They might have already downloaded the free gift. Now they're hearing, oh yeah, and they're recommending, oh my gosh, and she's giving these tickets to the community.
Great. Awesome. I love that. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thanks for staying with me and clarifying too.
Yes.
To make
My
sure.
brain's a little foggy today. I'm hanging in there, but I'm like, I don't know that I'm making sense when I talk. So
No, that makes perfect sense now. I got it. Thanks, Kia. Mwah. All right, Janine, saw your actual physical hand raise. Yes. I'm going to unmute you, or try to. I think you need to unmute you.
My hand raise icon has disappeared, and it says it might have been disabled by you.
No.
Okay.
Not by me, but either way, I'm glad you're physically.
Yeah. So at any rate, I have been, an entrepreneur for many years, but only in the last 6 years or so, I've been trying to do this adventure travel thing, which has been going quite well. So I hired Sage and the rest of you. And by the way, it is so incredibly inspiring to hear everybody's stories and to follow along with what everybody's doing. And I'm just taking it all to heart. And I know that I'm learning a great deal from all of you. At any rate, like one day after I hired Sage, I landed the biggest contract that I've had in forever. He is paying me as much money as I made last year to manage this one project for him. It's a 3-year contract. We're going to sail around the world in a boat. It involves possibly making a film. It involves all these logistics. It involves hiring captains. I mean, it's just an enormous piece of work that's perfect for me, and it's going to be wonderful. However, at the same time, I have all my projects simmering around in the background. And, my coach says, you should come first. But now the lines are really getting blurred, and I'm not sure where I stop and where Magellan Project starts. It feels like me, even though it isn't, it isn't my other clients or my business. I'll just say one other thing, and then I want to hear what advice you have for me. And the other thing is that I'm up in Alaska right now, which is where I lived for many years and where I have a home. And my daughter, is 5 months pregnant. My only daughter with probably my only grandchild. So now I'm having to reorganize my life so that I can be up here in the winter when I don't want to be here.
So one thing I would toss, Janine, is I hear you choosing to prioritize being there for your daughter and your grandchild. You don't have to be. You could be anywhere.
No. Well, I do. I'm compelled to be. But
you're compelled. You choose to. But this is the first thing, and just for all of you, anytime you catch yourself saying, I have to do this now.
Right.
Like, well, we all have so many choices. So this will relate to your next piece as well. So
okay.
I'm claiming it now. Yeah. So the choosing, you have this incredible opportunity that you're really excited about, that you've been presented with and contracted for. And I can feel your enthusiasm for it. And then you also have your other projects that are totally your own, solo projects that you're working on. And I definitely know something about this because I'm here with all of you as Women Rocking Business. I also have my own business. And part of how I do that is through managing time and blocking out time that is just clearly for the different things. So for you, it would be clearly this time is a block that's for working on your own projects, your own business, your own discovery calls, your own marketing, anything that you have like that. You just block that off and set that aside. And then there's other clear delineated times that you can put in your calendar for here's when I'm working on these projects and I'm available, because you can't be available all hours of the day, all the time for someone else's contract when you have your own projects to do. And then of course your own life, personal life mixed in with that, that if you set out your schedule in a way that you get to see, well, here's what I actually need. So the first thing I would look at, Janine, is how many hours do you really feel like you need to be devoting on a typical weekly basis to the other contract? Do you have a sense of that?
It's going to change after the first of the year. Mm-hmm. It was sort of part-time up till now, so it's going to amp up.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, it's probably 30 hours a week some weeks, and then other weeks maybe less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you're doing that, you need to look at, there's a couple things. One is how much downtime are you needing and protecting? I always start that way and work backwards.
Right.
So I recommend going on the freedom schedule as well from Sage, that looking at, okay, if I know that I need for my own sanity to have a couple days a week where no one is booking anything, and including me, I'm not filling the time up with something, then that's awesome. Some of you will say like, I'm cool with just one day like that, or I need 3. So you get to decide, Janine, how much you need off, and then go back from there to say, well, if it needs to be some weeks up to 30 hours in a week, how am I going to work that in with those times? And are you going to do it for your other work? Does it work for you to batch it so that you say, I've got a day, like Thursdays are the day that's only for my work, and that's what I'm doing? Or is it more like Thursdays are my big day, but I need to do 2 hours a day, 3 other days a week?
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. So what I found when I tried to batch it too much and maybe like, oh, I only need 8 hours, so I'll do it all in one day, then I couldn't be consistent and show up on social media and send emails and responding to people. There's all these tasks that happen behind the scenes. But when I started to say, well, I can do that here, I'll do 2 hours in the morning on Monday, and on Tuesdays I can do 2 hours at the end of the day. Like it's picking out different times and setting a schedule and a container, then it became consistent, and I could relax into that and know that it was going to get done, and know that I was never more than a day away, like 24 hours away from being able to answer something or, respond or take a discovery session or whatever needed to happen.
I hear what you're saying,
Mhm.
and that makes a lot of sense. But it's not like I have something that is strictly. Things are not scheduled like that. Like for instance, with Magellan Project, we just went to San Francisco for 4 days and did a soft launch. It was super duper successful. I worked a lot those 4 days.
Yes.
Then I had a nice long stretch off in Napa Valley with my friends. And, I also did a trip to Fort Lauderdale where it was super intense, really on doing, talking to as many people as possible. And so it's sort of on full speed ahead. I know it's the same for you when you do events and
Yeah, when we do events, it is like nothing else exists other than the event.
Right. Yeah. That's sort of what this is too.
Yeah. So in those moments, and how often that happens, how much time you're spending in that. But when you're in event mode and nothing else exists, then you're saying, okay, how can I set myself up to be able to still run those other elements? Is it that I take a half hour on those days and I make sure I get back to emails that are urgent or respond to messages? Like sometimes those things still need to happen. Or if you're able to set an out of office email and then just respond
I never
after.
do that. I try to be really responsive to people who are reaching out to me, but maybe that's something to consider.
So just considering, like remembering, and for all of you, remembering that you're your own boss, and even when you're contracted to work for others, that you get to say, here's what I'm available for, and this is I have these other projects, I'm working on these other elements. Of course, you're a priority, and here's when I'm going to be available.
Okay. All right. That's a good pep talk. It's all stuff I'm familiar with, but it's very refreshing to kind of hear it again at a time when I really need to hear it. So thank you.
Thanks, Janine. Great question. All right. And let's see, Phoebe.
Hi.
There we go. Hi.
For taking my second question. So I did my first summit in November, and I'm preparing for a summit. It's not till April, but I'm playing with ideas and I'm already pre-interviewing people. So I want to get focused on the purpose of the summit, because I get focused on the purpose, like my mission is to help healers become more visible and to help them build their businesses, right? But there's also a mission for the people who are coming, the participants. And so, is it like dialing in the topic of a talk, like a signature talk, kind of?
Like as far as something you could teach them at the summit as a main.
Yeah, it's not. It's they're all healers, and the healers will share a brief story, a little education on the modality that they're speaking about, and then doing a sample healing. So I'm imagining there are people that are struggling either with physical pain, emotional pain, or they're like spiritually in the dark night of their soul, or life purpose types of things. So it seems like a really broad spectrum, and I'm wondering like how to focus that to really put that frontline marketing out there to attract people.
Yeah. So what's the through line for, you help healers build their business. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the clients you're looking for on the other side of the summit are healers.
Right.
Not people who are looking to be healed.
Right.
So it's an important distinction.
Right. And my clients tend to be the presenters.
Yes.
Right.
So this is where it's important that your frontline marketing speak to this, that so people who are coming to your summit are like, you're speaking to, this is a summit for healers. And part of the kind of questions that you can ask other healers is about how have they navigated charging for healing? For instance, how have they stepped into sharing their voice when they felt like, oh, there was already someone else doing it? How did they recognize that their gifts were more than a hobby, that it was something that they really wanted to make their life's work? The kind of questions you ask will set the whole context.
Right.
And if you just ask them to give a healing and to talk about their work, they're going to go off wherever they want, and there's not going to be a through line. So that's going to be up to you to make sure you hold the container. This is a summit for healers who want to grow their business. We're going to ask only questions that pertain to helping healers grow a business.
Okay.
That makes sense?
That is totally not where I was going.
I got that. I was
That's
worried.
why you're
Yeah.
really helping me. Oh my God. Okay.
I'm glad that you asked this, because I got a little
Right?
sweaty there for a moment. I'm like,
No,
oh,
This is like, oh, now I have to
it's a really
pre-interview
big
them all.
project. And yeah, I was
Yeah.
interviewed recently on a summit where I thought, oh dear God, like this woman has put her heart and soul into this and clearly had no concept of connecting it to an offering afterwards or what. And so it just breaks my heart to see people doing all of that work, and then they just ask questions that are like, oh, like, tell me how amazing you are. Oh, that's so great. Like,
Right.
tell me about your program. Like, tell me what you're offering. Great for the speaker. It was awesome for me.
Right. Well, and I am highlighting them, but I didn't let them go into their programs. We kept it all free, and they could offer a free gift.
Great.
And for the channelers, they did channel a message, and it wasn't focused. I didn't, it was my first one, and I didn't really, I had no training. I'm just like, I'm doing a summit. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. I put it out there.
Wait a minute though, Phoebe. Do you have access to the Telesummit training?
No.
Are you joining us for another year of Leverage? Like you're going to go forward for Leverage. Okay. So I'm going to contact Sylvia about that.
Okay.
Because we have a Telesummit training that's available in Leverage that I think we could get you early access to. And
awesome.
You need to watch that for this next one, because it definitely talks about how to link it all up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I need.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll get to Sylvia today here. Of course. Yes. To do it without the training. I don't know. I've led 2 summits, and I was just listening to that training. I could have told you in my sleep what it was saying. I was listening to it all the time. And so it definitely will guide you towards how to monetize it and the kinds of questions to ask.
Right.
For any of you who are thinking about a summit, this is a game changer. And I would just say the main takeaway, Phoebe, is make sure that the summit is really directed at your clients and solving a problem. So it's for healers who know that they want to have a business or grow their business, offering their healing work. You're going to be interviewing some of the top experts who have done just that, telling the secrets behind the scenes of how they've navigated charging for healing, owning their gifts, and really committing to do their purposeful work in the world. Something like that.
Right. Complete shift.
I'm so glad you were here for a second time today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is huge. I'm like vibrating with that information. It's going to take a while to shift. So thank you for helping me get access to the training too.
Of course. Yes, of course.
Eat that for dinner every day.
Yes. Thanks for your questions, Phoebe.
Thank you.
And thanks for being willing to just graciously take the coaching and shift.
Yeah.
All right. Jennifer Cormier. I'm going to unmute you. No, it's not working. I think you have to unmute you. It won't let me do it. Still don't see you unmuted. Are you? Look, there you are. Yeah.
Okay, there I am.
Sometimes it works for me to unmute and sometimes it says no. So I don't know what the settings are. Oh, now you're no, you're muted again. There, you're back.
You hear me now?
Okay, no touching. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I have to do like a cleaning for how to open my voice or something. Weird. Okay, so I'm putting the energy into the weddings because I picked a thing. And our agreement was, for 2 or 3 months, just focus on the weddings, like just do that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I did an expo, I did another expo, I got emails, I'm making cold calls, phone calls, I'm like doing it. I booked one really solid wedding, I'm working on some others. And here's my, the rub that I'm getting is that I have like a 500 person e-newsletter list that's like a wellness folks that I've had as massage clients, yoga clients, community members on the East Coast, all over. And I haven't been sending out my e-newsletters. And I have an Instagram now that's Weddings with Jen, but it's very weddings focused. And, I have a passion in end of life, and I have a passion, like my life's work, my long-term work is called dream dancing. So it's working with people using creativity and dream time. So I don't want to lose my overarching, I don't want to like drop everything else.
Drop everything else and only focus on the weddings.
Right. Because I feel like I've just, I sent out an e-newsletter like, I have a new office, and that was a few months ago, and it was not a weekly, it's been like months. And they're like, hey, So I'm always trying to do I think it's part of my nature to feel the connecting threads and get the overarching umbrella. So
that's the key.
It's a little counterintuitive for me to be so like, focus driven. And I also, at this point, I could be, I had a 13 moon call that I was hosting this past year, and I kind of missed the boat to do another cycle of that at the end of January. Like I'd like to re-up that.
Well, maybe you haven't missed the boat.
Yeah. So I don't think
the end of January.
So I think I can do that. I could do another one of those. And there are people, local people that I could do a 4-month, 120-day reset, energy healing work. I'm hearing your kind of block it down. And that's something I talked to Sage about too. If I can just like get in my head, I need to do X amount of hours of weddings, and this is my plan.
Yes. And that's what funds everything else as well.
Right. And then I spend 4 hours a week on my signature talk here, and then I do this there. So I think that it's just, I think I'm asking for your permission, Megan, to do more than one thing, and then how to put it in my brain so that I don't know.
Yeah. So let's see. The first thing I hear is this umbrella kind of, or like I see the image of umbrella where you have these different aspects of what you're teaching. And it's not only about the weddings, but you're bringing this healing energetic work in, you're doing like dream time work and creativity work, end of life. Like there's a lot of capacity that you have in your space holding. And I think the important thing when you're focusing for at least a few months in one area is to focus on how those things relate to weddings in this case. So if you're talking about supporting people through energetic shifts and clearings, then how does that relate to preparing them for this next stage and in their relationship? And you get to link those things in so that this is what helps you stand out. Because when they see other people who are just talking about the, surface things to do with a wedding, and then you're talking about, well, you actually have to energetically clear anything that has been standing in your way from being in this deep connection. You've been saying you want, you've called it in, you've got the ring, you've got the date set, but what are you missing? And you get to have those deeper conversations with people, that's going to attract your ideal clients who say, oh, I want to work with her.
Right.
So how can you include more of you and share more of those pieces on social media, in your newsletter? And with the newsletter piece, I would just say, don't worry that it's been a couple months since you've sent an email. Just send one. Just do it. Most people, they're not noticing. They're not noticing that. They're too busy getting piles of other emails.
Right.
And so they'll just be like, oh, haven't heard from Jen in a while. Let's see. And maybe more likely to open it too.
Right.
Yeah. So as a starting place for you, just look at how can you integrate, rather than thinking of yourself as only doing that one component. It's asking yourself, how do these other pieces of who I am relate to this offering?
Right. And that's the people that I've talked to have said, wow, you did this before the wedding ceremony, meditation and grounding. Like that is right on, you know?
Exactly. See? Yeah. And so you could do, you could share a meditation or a grounding with a video on a Facebook Live. And then in that video say, this is one of the rituals that I share with couples before they're getting married, and we customize this for them. And so if you're engaged and thinking about creating a, really memorable and what's the word, like authentic wedding or something that's really connected to your values, then I'd love to chat with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to look like the traditional teaser, like signature talk. I think it could be that you're sharing some component of what you teach.
Right.
Yes. Thanks for your question, Jen. Mwah. All right. Trying to get to everybody here in the next 20 minutes. So I'm going to hone it in. Rachel. Hey, Rachel Cooley.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's your question?
All right. My question, let me move over a little bit. So I have an event coming up on the 21st of December.
Mm-hmm.
It's winter solstice with the angels.
Aww.
So I'm excited about that. I'm going to go to better lighting and better internet connection right here. And I'm thinking about to help get more butts in seats because, it's a busy time of year, right? And in general, getting people there. I was considering doing a 3-day Facebook like masterclass. And I was thinking about having the theme be around releasing stress during the holidays with the angels.
Mm-hmm.
So I was considering, but I haven't announced it yet. So I'm considering doing that next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like for half an hour each day. And then at each one, talk about my event, my winter solstice of the angels event happening Saturday morning, the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I know it's a super busy time of the year, but I thought, well, 1, visibility, and 2, maybe get more people to my event through that. I was just wanted to run that by you and what you think.
Yeah, that sounds great. Any way that you can get more eyes in your event, more visibility, that's great. And it's a full time of the year, but for your work especially, it's a really special offering that I think it's a hot time to be able to offer us like a sacred day like that.
Yeah, it's actually a 2-hour, it's just in the morning. It's just like from 10 to 12. It's not even the whole day.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. Congratulations on just carving out that time and committing to getting it out there on the 21st.
Thank you. And then, so I think I just start promoting today about the Facebook masterclass.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be my 3rd one. I've done 2 before earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, Megan, one more quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recommend only doing it in your group or doing it on your regular, like my Rachel Cooley page, and then sharing it to my group, having it in both places? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so you can talk about how it's going to be in your group, like join your group to see it, to get access, because then you're getting more people over there and joining the group. And then when it actually comes time to do it, you can do it live on your business page. So that you can boost it and you would share it live into your group.
Okay. So then say go to the group for it, but when I actually do it, go to my business page and then share
it into the group
from there.
So then people would all be seeing it and watching it in your group that are knowing about it, but people who didn't know about it would be able to still find it on the page. And if you wanted to share it and boost it, you'd still be able to do that, because the problem once it's in a group only and not on a business page is you can't share it anywhere else. You couldn't share it to your personal page. Like, that's the other thing that, you know, it can be great to share some of these offerings into your personal page too.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And the main reason would be to go for my business page. My regular Rachel Cooley has the most traction. I have more people there.
Of course. Yes, always.
Yeah. I guess to do it in the group though would be mostly if I wanted to boost it.
To do it in in
my business page. My
business page is mostly if you want to boost it. If you just want to do it on your regular page and then share it into the group, you could do that too.
Okay, so I have options. Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Rachel. Mwah.
Thanks.
All right, let's see. Juliet, haven't heard from you yet, and your hand's been up for a long time.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Hello. I'm just, but you can't see me because I'm outside in the middle of winter at a full moon fire.
Okay.
So, sorry. So I'm just trying to get away from the people. I've been listening. So as I've been hearing about Ada in the beginning about her course, I feel like I've done not much this year. I've got caught in the paralysis analysis loop, and I'm trying to work out trying to feel good about myself. And yet I've got 2 people saying, when are you going to do your Enneagram, your personality profiling course? So I've got a split between getting my niche out there, marketing to couples and focusing on my niche and following the plan, versus 2 people saying, when are you going to teach us? So the modality is this personality program, which is very powerful for couples, understanding what's really going on. So I suddenly realized, as Ada was talking about her meetup group, I thought, but I have people asking me, when am I going to do my course? Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to focus on the model of, the signature talks and program. So in one sense, I'm wondering, do I go a meetup way and create my marketable program through the meetup? Because I've got 2 people who are asking me about, when am I going to do this? So, but I've got so fixed on doing, I'm still trying to find my words, my marketing, and get out there, and I've got caught in the, so to me, actually, but there are people asking me, when am I going to, because it's under the name of the personality profiling system, the Enneagram, whereas I wasn't leading like with that as my package. So suddenly I think I realized that I've got split, but actually I could follow what people are asking me to do.
And it's like an Enneagram Enneagram course for couples.
Yeah, essentially, I suppose I hadn't seen it for couples. It's just an Enneagram course, but what if the 2 people, so the 2 people are 2, actually my good friends, male friends, who are in sort of, they're not in committed relationships, but they're the 2 asking me, trying to support me, saying, when are you going to do this? And but I hadn't thought about doing a course for couples.
Well, I was just saying that because I thought that was your niche.
Yeah, but I hadn't put the 2 together because can you see how I'd separated it?
Yeah, and so you could entertain that idea that it could still be, we recommend not leading with a modality. However, when you're doing something like that, if people in your community are already familiar with it, then for people that are familiar with the Enneagram, like myself as well, I know that we often will seek out Enneagram teachers and people to support in that way. And so it could be something just to try if you've got people in your community who are already aware and following you for that reason, to see, but how it's going to help them, but giving a twist to it, that it's not just about the Enneagram, but who's it for and what's the result they're going to get.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I was going to do a relationships workshop in February. That was the one, like a signature talk, like a signature talk focusing on the relationship aspect, because that essentially is the niche, because it's so powerful when you know.
100%. I probably use it almost every single day with my partner.
Below.
Yeah.
And I've had coaching on relationships, on the male-female dynamic, what men need, what women need. But I don't see those groups being put together. I see the general male-female relationship coaching, but I don't. And then there's the Enneagram. But you put those four factors together, and you suddenly see all the wiring, all the connections happening, and what's happening. So I feel my unique package is pulling both the general relationship coach, the male-female wiring, and the type structure together. That would be what I would be presenting. But I got very separated. So
yeah, it's a combination of all of those aspects.
And I would like to be known as an Enneagram coach, but I've been sort of hiding behind a modality, and yet I want to be known for my modality as an Enneagram person facilitator.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay, so it's possible. It's possible to do.
It is possible for sure, and it's important for you to have some workshops that just talk about relationship and focus on that as the front line, so that when people don't know anything about the Enneagram, they're not saying, "Well, what is that? I don't know. I wouldn't go to that." So you don't want to just block out all of those people. You would have some workshops where the gateway is just relationship, and then you're offering some tools from the Enneagram once they're in the door.
Okay, so I could do a warm-up signature talk to promote the course starting at the end of February. Use Valentine's Day as like a signature talk time to launch the course in like March, a month later.
Yeah,
or is that too late?
That's great. When you're doing a signature talk and you're planning that as part of a launch, it's good to have a span of about 8 weeks of promotion time for the program.
Even more.
And so you could do that talk in February, but you might also have another talk in the beginning of March. That's related to that, some online offerings as well. And so for all of you, always thinking like around 8 weeks for promoting for a group.
Okay. And then even in my community, sort of my church community, I said, if you want to talk about, learn about identity, the Enneagrams, how to learn about identity. And the leader was interested, saying, well, have a look and we can do something. So I can do like a beta test with just I have done a 9-week session, a 9-session course, but it was about 2 years ago. So and I would recommend in Oxford, I would recommend doing another like a workshop in your church as well. That's a free workshop that people can attend, so that then they can find out about the program and the next steps. Okay. That's for the first time I made that connection listening to Ada. And put what I was hearing from this course and linking to what 2 people were saying to me, and I didn't know how to pull it together. So that's helpful. Okay.
Great, Juliet. Thanks for joining
thanks for that
us.
encouraging. Oh no, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's a beautiful starry night, moonlit night. So
love that you're outside and committed and being on the call out at night. Mwah.
Yeah. Mwah. Okay, there's the fire. Okay.
Beautiful.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. We've got a few more questions, and I'm going to hop over to Sonia and see what yours is. I'm going to lower.
Hi.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi. I was like listening to the invisible woman over there.
Yes.
So my question is, Sacred Heart Healing is bringing a lot of activity, but I'm getting all over the board with it. Relationships, business. I'm not happy with my marriage. I need partnership. So it's like all over the place. So I'm trying to take what I do and focus in on their needs. And so I feel like the first 12 calls were just kind of just learning how to deal with resistance, and I'm now kind of locking into it and really standing with them. And so I have a couple people who are on the fence, and the biggest thing is like I need to look at my finances. I need to get back to you, and it's like the resistance they're giving me is my own resistance that I gave you guys. So it's like a mirror,
How about that? Yeah.
How about that? And and the things that they're really stuck in are, of course, the areas that I was stuck in. I mean, I refused to pay for anything for about 20 years. So it's like being like in the, stuck people, so any tips on how to finesse that a little bit better, maybe?
Oh, well, I know this is really, you're pointing to a pattern that will often happen, that we will attract exactly who we've been, how we've shown up, and you'll get to see some of that reflected of like, oh yeah, I've said that before. And we don't always realize it right away, but great that you're realizing it and seeing that you have some of those same patterns. So you have the benefit of having some insight
Absolutely.
into those patterns because you've lived them. And so that's the piece I would say, Sonia, is being able to speak to, like, I know because I was in your spot exactly for 20 years of just saying, no way, I'm not going to pay for anything. I don't need any help. And here's where that got me.
Yeah, I've been saying that. I've been saying there, well, I need to go through my finances, and I've been doing, well, I know that your gremlin's going to kick in because, and I do the whole thing, and I'm getting better at it.
Yeah. So when someone says, just because you were asking if someone says, oh, financially, or I need to look at this, or I can't do this. Okay. I totally hear that, it sounds like you've got some financial concern around it. But if it wasn't about the money, I'm just curious, would you be a yes to working together right now?
I asked that question and I get a yes.
Okay, great.
And I have to go over my finances. I have to, they're in extreme poverty consciousness. And so they're really attached. So I talk to them about creating their reality, and that, as long as they continue to think that way, they're going to continue to create that reality. And I'm asking them to make a jump in faith. And I give them examples of how that happened in my life when I made a jump in faith, how the universe was there for me. So I'm giving them really good stuff.
Great. Yeah.
But, meeting a lot of resistance. So I'm thinking that maybe I need to micro niche more.
Yeah. So I would say, at this point, if you're saying all those things, you're getting into those conversations, and you're attracting all people who are in that same kind of financial lack consciousness situation, then it is important to come up with something that is a strong enough desire that they have, and a big enough solution that you're providing, like a clear solution that you're providing, that it is worth it.
Yes, it's clear that the people who are coming are not, they don't want to pay for their own welfare. They'll pay for if it's a business venture, so I'm thinking about, well, if you could help me with my business. And my client today was working with my tools. He's actually getting a lot of downloads of how he's going to birth his stuff. So I'm looking at maybe focusing on supporting people who are actually in the middle of birthing something that's never been here before. That freaked me out when that happened for me, and like help them and support them in that process, because virtually people don't have anyone to guide them through that. And it's very scary when you're being asked to bring something into the world that has not been here before. So I'm thinking of niching down to that level, and that would be very satisfying for me.
Yeah, and I would definitely recommend that you mention the business element of that you're supporting people who are birthing a business, who are creating a new pathway to income that they've never had before, that they're in transition, and that those kind of keywords will be helpful to attract the right kind of people for you. And it's not that you won't have financial objection from them, because they'll give it to you too. But then you can lay it back, tie it back around to, okay, well, how is this going to directly help your business, and how many clients would you need to get to be able to easily afford this? Like those kind of questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
Thank you, Sonia. Mwah, beautiful question. Marlene. Yes, Marlene, I see you. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, there I am. Hi again.
Hello.
So as I hear everybody's questions and stuff, I'm swirling around, of course. And I have to admit, I had to look up what that other word was that you were talking about, the Enneagram.
Enneagram, which is case in point of why we don't want to only lead with that.
It was like, I heard of that? No, I don't know what that is. Do I know? Anyway, so it was amusing. I'm learning stuff all the time.
Yes.
So a couple little things and then one that might be a little bigger. But basically, the way I have my program set up is the 90 days. And I do, because, I don't know, I do the Akashic Records and the mediumship and stuff like that. So I offer the Akashic Records in as 2 readings in the front and at the end of the 90 days as sort of the starting points of working with them, because what happens comes through the reading. Then we kind of do the discovery session of what part do they really want to focus on for that 90 days. So part of what I was doing there when I did my talk, my free gift when I gave my first signature talk was that they'd have a 30-minute soul clarity session with me. So almost everybody wanted that, but several of them said, well, I know already I do want a reading. Can I just go ahead and do the reading first? So it became that I was getting a lot of readings, which is great, but then I was having trouble. Okay, so they came for the reading. Now they're happy. When do I get the opportunity to do the discovery session? So I had a little chat with Phoebe about a week and a half ago, and we reversed it to see how it would work. And that's how I got the lady I just got this week that came into the program, because I did the discovery first. So I just wanted to, kudos to Phoebe and confirm, should I be doing it that way from this way forward?
Yes. Yes. That's great.
Thinking so, but I just wanted to make sure, because it does feel like, and someone had suggested that if I do that, if I make my readings, and I don't know what prices are everywhere else, but I'm doing my 1 hour reading for $125 if that's all they're coming to me for. And someone had said, well, your reading needs to be more expensive so that they'll see that they're getting a deal by coming into the program, because they get 2 readings, beginning and end, being in the program, instead of just coming for a reading or coming back every couple months for more readings.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, do you think that makes more sense for some people, $125 for an hour is a lot of money,
Well, that's why you can't frame it that way.
Okay.
So whenever someone says to me, or, in the past, especially with my own business coaching, like, oh, what, that much per hour? I'm like, no, I don't get paid by the hour. I get paid for your results.
Oh.
And so when you're speaking to anything, like for a reading example, it's no, I'm not getting paid for the hour. I'm getting paid to support you with, clearing away anything that's been standing in your way, for opening up to what is next. And, for some people that looks like coming for a single reading. For most people, and so this is where I would frame what a single reading costs. It would be much more per hour in theory, but you're not trying to get them to commit to an hour. You're actually trying to get them to not commit to the hour.
Exactly.
So, and the program is $797, right?
Yeah.
So you could say sometimes people choose to come to me for just an hour reading, and it's $500. You're welcome to do that.
Are you serious? Or are you just joking by saying
I'm serious. So listen to say. So it's some people would choose to hire me for just a 1 hour reading, and it's $500. You can definitely do that. But what I really recommend is when people come in to work with me for 90 days, we work intensively together over the course of 90 days. It's $797, which I'm also happy to break into payments. So if you mentioned that, I'm happy to break into payments. And you get 2 hour-long readings within the course of those 90 days, as well as, however many group calls, trainings, things that you're putting in along the way.
Wow. That sounds so good the way you put it.
It's reverse marketing. So you use that one thing that you don't really want them to sign up for. It's like you've heard Sage say it too, or maybe you haven't, but her VIP days are $12,000. you're all welcome to book a VIP day with her if you wanted one. Well, not all. If you all wanted one, she wouldn't have time. But if you wanted to book one, you could apply to book one with her, and it's possible to get you in her calendar at some point. But what it really is, and that's really what it is, that's what it costs. And for some people, that's going to be the best answer. The stage of business they're in, they just want one day, laser focus, that's it, that's all they need. For most people, they'd rather have a year.
Ongoing support.
Yes. And so there's options. But for all of you, how can you use your higher end personalized time as the option that makes your other offering sound like a no-brainer?
Yeah. And that I love it the way you put that way.
And then if someone books the hour with you, you still get $500. So that's great.
I would be amazed if I met someone that could afford to book me for a $500 reading. That would be incredible. One other quickie thing, if someone's committed to the 90 days and they're not paying all at once, I had my first one who's almost out the door now. Because she missed a couple of sessions, and of course I offered to make them up with her. She said, oh, well, I didn't think I had to pay because we were rolling those sessions over. So she tried to get out of paying the last month. And I said, no, 90 days is 90 days. Whether you choose to do the sessions or not, you still have to pay for the third month.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I missed something in my introduction about that. Is there something I should have them sign?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to have them sign a contract that's saying, here's your, this is the thing for all of you to really note, that when someone's paying over a period of time, they can get in their head that, well, I can just decide at any point that I don't want to pay anymore, and then that's okay. So you, in the beginning, say, if you choose to pay up front, we waive the deposit, and you just pay the $797 up front. If you choose to pay in installments, you would pay the $100 deposit and then 3 monthly payments of X. And just to be clear, this is not a membership program. So I'm financing this for you, allowing you to pay it in 3 installments so that it could be easier for you, but you still owe the full amount. Right. Is that clear? Right? Spelling it. And it's what we don't want to do. We're like, let's just skim by this and hope they don't notice they're paying anything. Like for most of you, that's the uncomfortable, but it's going to come back and bite you.
Is that contract in our forum somewhere? Is there one?
We do have some examples. The thing with the contracts is they're not legally binding unless you actually get it drawn up. Okay. So you can also search examples on Google, and there will be lots of things. But the main thing is like having that little conversation with someone saying like, this is not a membership. This is actually a payment plan, and you are committed for the entire time.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Great questions, Marlene. Mwah. And thanks for your acknowledgement and celebration of Phoebe. I would go ahead and write that down for her and send it to her as a testimonial so she can add it in to her summit pages.
Yeah, very good.
Yes. All right. I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes. The last one's Ashley.
I'm still sicky in bed.
So sick, yeah.
But I'll put vanity aside for a second and let y'all see me.
Good.
So Marlene, talk to me later too, because instead of single sessions, I've been doing follow-up integration session packages, and it's been great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome. Okay. So my main question is, you know how we got this handout and it's like the 7 stages or the 5 stages?
The levels of business?
Yeah, for levels of business.
Okay.
Am I really focused primarily right now on getting my first 8 to 12 ongoing clients to stabilize my income? That's where I feel like I'm at. So my tendency is to do a million things, and then suddenly I realize, I'm not focused on that one thing, like filling my program. So that's my main question and that could even look, so that it's about filling my program, because I've got one 12-month client and I want to get a few more. That can look like reaching out to leads, following up with people who've been attending my workshops, but also I know a couple, like I could do affiliate and referral things too, because I have a program and I have people that I think would be good to, not affiliate, what is it like if I get a social media influencer to talk about my program? You know what I mean? Like, could that be part of
That's an affiliate.
affiliate? Okay. Because I want to make sure that I stay consistently committed to this one primary focus of filling up my 12-month program. And so that could be the umbrella, right? But then there's just these sub areas of how to do it. Okay. So I got that right.
Yes. Yeah. So your focus when you're looking at that level 1 of business is just to see how many of those things that you can really check off before you move towards focuses that happen in the other tiers, other levels of business.
So that's where I'm going to stay. And even if that's the next like month or two, that's how long.
Yes. Sometimes people stay there for a year, and that's totally fine. The levels aren't about trying to achieve like, I've got to be over here. It's more about seeing how you're filling the gaps so that you create a really solid foundation.
Okay. And they're more or less going in order, right?
Yeah, more or less, but you can definitely hop around within there, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then a quick question. I get that email lists and emails are important, but is it also okay if I set up a free or maybe paid membership site through my website for clients or for something? Should I wait on that till later? Because sometimes I want them to have an easy way to like log in and access information or maybe a program they're in. I do share Google Docs with paying clients, but I sometimes want to veer away from so many emails, to be honest.
Oh yeah. So for clients, for people who are clients, you can definitely have a platform on your site or on another site that you use, like Teachable or Thinkific, and that where you're having videos and handouts and all those kind of things, definitely on another site. We don't recommend membership sites in the sense of standalone, like someone paying $20 a month to have access to materials, because then it becomes a lot for you to handle without having a team member that's devoted to that client care.
Let alone a free site.
Yeah.
Right? They should just
Yes, exactly. So just for clients, yes, you can have a spot where they're going to download that information.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Mwah, hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Hopping back over to Jennifer. Unmuting yourself again. Hopefully. Nope. Yes. Oh, no. I don't know. There you are. Like the pop quiz from the universe. So like get your voice in.
Just a quick technical question. So I have my PDF of my quiz. That's my free gift. And my goal for by the end of the year is that goes on my Weddings with Jen website on the homepage as a pop-up. So that when someone visits my website, they see that, they can click on it, take it. It needs to live somewhere on my website. So there's a link. And how do I do that? Just technically.
How the quiz can live on your website?
Yes.
Yes. So have you created the quiz yet?
Yes.
Okay. And you would have the code then. Yes, the code for your quiz. You could embed the code for the quiz right onto your website, potentially.
Well, it's just a PDF.
So the quiz is not, so it's not a quiz like people are going through online and they get to fill it in. It's just like a downloadable worksheet quiz.
PDF like ABCD.
Got it. Simple. Okay. So for that kind of a quiz, then it's just the same as any other opt-in gift where you would have it linked through your email provider. Like if you have MailChimp, for instance, anything, who's your email?
Constant Contact.
Newsletter. Constant Contact. So you would then set it up as upload your PDF to Constant Contact.
Okay.
And then you would have an opt-in that is specifically to that, where you have an email go out to them that says, here's your quiz, download the quiz, take the quiz as the next step. The other thing you can do on most websites is it'll give you the option when you fill in a form for opt-in. It can say after a form's filled in, you can redirect to another page. as a possibility.
Okay.
And if you redirect to another page on your website, you could have a hidden page on your website that's not in the menu bar. And it could be like your name /quiz. And then people are seeing that PDF right there on the screen as an image where they can look at it right there. And they could also get an email sent with it.
Okay, so I'm doing this through, so Constant Contact is my e-newsletter provider, and I have this Weddings with Jen website through Square.
Like Squarespace?
Squarespace. So
great.
Through Squarespace?
Yeah, on Squarespace, yes.
Okay.
And I'm familiar with Squarespace. So it does do that thing where if you're putting an opt-in, it can say after someone fills in their email, where do you want to send it to? Like as a thank you page, or where's the next page? And the thank you page that you send to could just have the quiz right there for them to see, so that whether they check their email or not, they're getting the quiz right away.
Okay, so that there is something on Squarespace that says pop-up box.
Mm-hmm.
In like 5 seconds or something. You kind of want to have it delayed so it's not right away, or do you recommend it?
Yeah, you can do the pop-up box that way. Yeah, it's good to have the little bit of a delay. And even if it's not a pop-up box, you could just have it on the page and have it on different pages. Like Sage was recommending last week, having the opt-in on all different pages of your website, so that if people don't do it right away, they see it on another page.
Because right now I have a Contact Jen now, like that's the box that's bigger and with color.
Yeah.
Instead of that, should I have that be the free quiz?
Yes, that would be the free quiz. That would be the free quiz one. And the contact could be its own tab, another page on the site. So if someone's just looking to go and contact you, they can go and do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll work on that. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Mwah. And Deb, last question for today. Thanks for your patience.
Oh, thanks for doing this, Megan.
Of course.
And thanks to everybody's questions have been so helpful for me. It's like you guys are reading my mind, so thank you.
Oh, good.
Okay, I have a quick one. I'm in this re-enrollment conversation process that I thought would be a lot easier than it is to re-enroll current clients into slightly higher price point and a 6-month commitment. And what I'm finding is that even when people have absolutely incredible results and totally different lives now, like out of pain, off their pain meds, lost 50 pounds, confidence, changed their whole career, like huge, their lives are completely different. It still comes down to, I can't afford it. And it's shocking to me because even when they're used to that culture of investing in themselves, even clients that have been with me for 9 months and are used to investing in themselves, when I ask about the 6-month commitment, even though I've had them re-enroll every 3 months. And so asking them to stretch to a 6-month commitment and having a price increase, it comes down to I can't afford it. And so my practice is to be able to hold that tension and handling that objection. The question to you is like, how long do you spend on that? And I'm spending like an hour in that re-enrollment conversation with people. And although I'm proud of myself for the 2 that I did today, I felt finally, after I like messed up many of them yesterday, but it took an hour. And
they committed?
Both of them, well, one is a definite yes, and the other is, she is a definite yes, but she then is like, I have to ask my husband. And but both of them are like, absolutely, if it wasn't about the money, they're gonna do it. And I have a feeling, I've been working with both of them for like 9 months and we have a really good rapport. So I have a feeling they'll get committed, but I'm struggling with knowing how hard to push, for lack of a better word. I don't want to feel pushy and salesy, but like shifts that have had to, the shift that they've had to make to get to the place where they're valuing the results and all of that stuff. And I help them creative think about the resources, how much time do you spend with that? And, or do you just let it go, and, or do you follow up with them in a couple of days, or how do you handle that?
So great question. So how much time do you spend when you get to that point in the conversation that someone's saying like, oh, I just can't afford it. You've already gone through the other elements of what is it that they're really wanting. So you get to ask them at that point the question, as you have been asking, well, if it wasn't about the money, then would you be a yes to working together? And if they are a yes to working together, so if they're a no, let me start there. If they're a no because there's something else, then you get to address that and veer off, because like, oh, there's actually a time concern too, or they don't want to do what they've been doing anymore, whatever it is, then you get to address that. But for most people, it's yes, I would want to still work with you, but it just feels like a stretch. Great. Well, could I give you some coaching on that? So there's two main things you can do with that time that are most effective. One is really reflecting on what it is they said that they were wanting, and what's that worth to them? Like, is it worth the investment? So it's got to be enough of a desire, enough of a clear vision and want that it's worth it to them. That can be part of the challenge. The other side of it is a more practical aspect, which is having them make a list with you or as homework, depending on the amount of time you have, of the 10 possible ways that they could figure it out if they were going to. So if you were going to join this program, what are the 10 possible ways you could figure it out financially? Let's just play with that. And I always say, this is one of the things I use all the time to make decisions in my life, big financial decisions, business decisions, really asking myself, well, if I was going to do it, how could I do it? Because we're so quick to go to, no, I can't. And so I want to teach you this practice because you'll be able to use this going forward for any decision you're making, whether or not you decide to stay. And it is true. I mean, I use that practice all the time in different ways for decisions that I make. And when I work with potential clients or current clients with that same kind of process, often by the time they're getting to the third possibility, they're having ahas about what they could do differently. But at first they're like, 10 ways? I don't know. I don't even see one way. Okay, well, that's what I'm here for, to help coach you. I have a couple suggestions to get started. And then you can toss those suggestions. Like, is there someone you could ask in your life that is really been saying they support you and what you're up to, and you could ask for a little support in this way, in a financial way? Or is there someone who's been saying that they need help with something that's actually in your wheelhouse and you're great at it, and you could create a job for yourself where you're doing something on the weekends, like building a website or whatever it is that they have a skill in.
Yeah, I did that with one of my clients because it would actually be a price lowering because she's been with me twice a week for 9 months. And so this would be, it's totally within her wheelhouse of what she's been paying. And because of all the coaching, now she's feeling empowered in her life that she is going to quit her job this year and move to a different city and start over. And so now she's starting to save money to do that.
Yeah.
And so she's taking it out of this fund. So that's exactly what I did. Was I helped her creatively think about other ways that she could come up with that, know, $400 a month she was to be putting away. Yeah. And I guess it just feels weird because I don't know if it's, let me ask you this, Megan, as somebody who's seasoned in this, do you ever get to the time and the place where it doesn't feel salesy for you to be having these conversations, and that you don't feel pushing your own edge in terms of like trying to convince them or manipulate, not manipulate, but like it's really edgy for me to have these conversations?
I don't feel like I'm pushing or manipulating, because that's not where I'm coming from. So I never feel that. I feel like, and I just want to say we're not taking any more hands because we're closing out already 20 minutes over. So post your questions on the page, but just with this, it's more of like really owning it in myself that I'm taking a stand for them. And that's my role in the conversation. Like my role is to take a stand for this person and for what they said they wanted. And so sometimes I'll be having a conversation with someone and recognize, yeah, like she's great. Like she doesn't need this anymore. It's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. And in that case, if I was to be going down that line of thinking like, here's why you really need this, like then I would know something was off. But there are times when it's just time to let someone go and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both these people still had huge goals they're working towards meeting.
Yeah. And so when people are
can't afford it objection kind of surprised me because I know they've budgeted for it in the past. And
and people's budgets can change for what they're wanting to afford now. Like, oh, now they have a different priority. Like she's saving to be able to quit her job, move away. That's just part of what changes for people.
Got it.
So it's the recognition like, yeah, people are going to change their priority just because they could afford it in the past and they made it a priority to choose it. They're not going to necessarily be choosing it in the future. So part of that is the letting go and the surrender. No problem. Sirens. Part of that is the letting go of like, oh, not everybody is going to be continuing forward and prioritizing that. That's just natural. But standing in the fire with them and knowing that you're in your own integrity and alignment, that it's not salesy, it's not a manipulation. This is like really honoring, if it wasn't about the money, those kind of questions are just asking people to be honest. Like, would you do this? Okay, great, you would. Let me help you. Because what's true is most people have never had anyone stand for them that way. Most people have never had that kind of conversation. They've had everyone back down when they say, well, I can't afford it. And I've had those kind of toe-to-toe conversations with people of like, how could you be asking this? This is outrageous. You're not really helping people, like full on in it. And
really? People say that?
Oh yeah. Like all kinds of things, like at my own live events, like people, like saying just they're outraged. Right. And I'm like, and why wouldn't you give me a scholarship? I deserve it. Like that kind of language. And like, well, because I know that nothing changes if I were to continue to see you as a victim, and I don't see you that way. I see you as resourceful and capable and powerful. And I'm sorry that you don't see yourself that way, but I'm not going to change how I see you to meet you there. Like, I'm going to hold this higher ground for you, that it's possible, that you can have this, you can expand into this possibility. And so being willing to know and stand in that with your own integrity. If you wobble and you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't be charging this is terrible. And I think part of it is as you have enough experience I know you have tons of experience teaching, but enough experience like enrolling people in these kind of conversations and standing toe to toe with them and having people come back to you and thank you later for standing for them, then it starts to add up. Because those are the things I see in my mind when I'm having those conversations that do feel edgy or uncomfortable. I think of the people who, like a woman who paid me in cash her $697 a month from like often dollar bills and $5 bills of like making her monthly payments to have business coaching. And at the end of it, having a thriving business, being the first one in her family to be like really standing on her own, taking care of herself, having a car, having her own apartment when she came from a family of people that said, you'll never be anything. Yeah. And I think of those kind of people like, okay, I'm standing to this one. It's a persona that's like totally worked up. And I just remember the beings that I've seen transform. So think of those ones, Deb, when you're in the conversations, all of you, when you're in those conversations, think of that person that did have the shift, that was able to move past it, and that you're standing as part of a guide and a way shower, and not everyone's going to like it.
That's helpful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for staying on longer. Thank you for all your questions. And I know this is the last call of the holidays. So just again, urging you all to take really good care of yourselves. as you move into final enrollment conversations for the year, really loving yourself up for everything that you've already created, all that you've been committed to. Just in awe of every single one of you, and looking forward to seeing you on the other side next year. And for now, keep posting in the Facebook groups, keep commenting and sharing in the Facebook groups, and you can do that through the holidays. We do take the last 2 weeks off of the year, so we'll be posting about that, and when coaches take a break. But you're welcome to still all connect with each other and post in there. And we'll see you in the new year.
All right.
Bye for now. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Megan.
You're so welcome. Bye.